Hey everyone, Taku here. I hope you're doing well. And today I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration to show you the effects of combining focus shift shooting and pixel shift shooting. So let's get to it. So Nikon recently released their 3.0 firmware upgrade for the Nikon Z8 camera. And in there, they enabled the ability to combine two separate features into one. That's pixel shift shooting and focus shift shooting. Combine them together and you'll get one really high resolution image with superior detail and color rendition so that you can appreciate the finer details of the subject you're shooting. Focus shift shooting is when the camera takes multiple pictures as it changes the focal plane further and further away from the camera for each picture. This results in a final image where the subject is crystal clear right from the front to the back of the subject. Pixel shift, on the other hand, is a feature where when the camera takes a picture, it will take up to 32 photos by shifting the sensor by a half a pixel each time. When you combine all those images together, it will actually create a higher resolution image with superior detail and color rendition. So by combining the focus shift feature and the pixel shift feature, we're going to get one final image with a really high resolution image, superior color rendition, details, and less noise as well. Not to mention all the details from the front to the back of the subject because of the focus stacking. So let's get to how we will do this with our Nikon Z8 camera. For my camera gear, I'm using my Nikon Z8 with my Nikkor MC105 f2.8 S lens. So here's my setup for today. I have my subject here, the leaf, sitting right on top of a tile here, and I have my Nanlite FS300B paired with the SMDV flip bounce softbox here, and I'm using this as an ambient light source set at 5600 Kelvin. Right behind the leaf itself, I have the Nanlite Pavo Tube 215C here, and I'm shining this light directly behind my leaf so that it brings in a beautiful backlighting to the leaf. And you'll actually see that it creates a really nice edge light as well, which brings it a really good separation from the background. So with this backlight, I'm trying to get a lot more of the details to pop out from behind. Now for the front light, I have a new tool here from Maven Filters, and it's one of their magnetic ring lights, as you can see here. So I'm just using the top portion of this ring light, and I'm shining it directly at the front side of the subject so that it's actually lighting just the surface of the leaf. Now combining the two front light and the back light, I'm hoping to be able to achieve beautiful lighting to accent the color of the leaf itself and bring out that beautiful detail and the veins that you see of the leaf. So hopefully we'll be able to achieve that, and you'll be able to see the finer details on my laptop right here. So here we are, and this is the view as seen from my Nikon Z8. You can see how the leaf is a little curled because it's been a little bit of time since I actually took the pixel shift and focus shift shooting. So I'm just using this as a demonstration for the menu purposes. So just disregard the curling of the leaf. Now you can see how I set all of this up. I have my focal point at the closest part of the leaf, that is to the lens. Now I do this because of the focus shift feature. What the focus shift does is actually starts the focusing right where I set it to, right here at the beginning of the frame, right here, where it's green. And then it will actually shift the focal plane further and further away from the lens and take the picture until it reaches the designated amount of photos that I tell it to take in the menus. So For the focus shift, I have to set the initial focal point to the closest part of the subject, that is to the lens. Now, my settings for an exposure is at 1/125th of a second, f9 at ISO 400. And you can see how my exposure is just right. It's a little overexposed, but there's nothing that is clipped or anything on the highlights, as you can see on the histogram there. Now you can also see that this is properly lit because I have my Nanlite that's backlighting from the top, you can see there. And then if I focus there, you can see how I have a really nice rim light or an edge light right to the leaf there. That's giving me some separation from the background tile. And then on the foreground, it's lit up from my Maven ring light feature, which is giving me a little bit of glow to the front face of the leaf. So in combination of those two, I'm trying to give it a little bit of contrast and depth to the actual leaf itself. And you will actually see the benefits of good lighting in the final image, where you will be able to appreciate the finer details and the color of the leaf itself. Let's go into my menus here. Where I will go into, where is it here? Photo shooting menu and focus shift shooting. So I found out before recording this that with a focus step width of 4, I need 15 shots in order to be able to cover from the front of the leaf to the back of the leaf clearly in focus. So a focus step width of 4 is actually pretty narrow. You can see how we have an option between 1 to 10 from narrow to wide. Now these settings will be different for every situation, so you'll have to do some trial and error for this yourself. And if we actually press start just right now, it will actually take 15 shots while it changes the focus plane from the front of the leaf to the back of the leaf. So I have that in my finder. You can see here that I have 15 shots. I can easily take all of these 15 shots, place them on its single layer in Photoshop, and then auto align them so that they're aligned properly. And then you can auto blend them so that Photoshop will create a seamlessly blended image from those 15 layers. And now you can see how the leaf is completely in focus from front to back, and we have that nice edge lighting in the back provided by the Nanlite Pavo tube, and the front facing portion of the leaf is really nicely lit from the Maven ring light. So this is approximately 8,000 by 5,000 pixels in dimensions, which is about 45.6 megapixels in total size. Now, if we go back to the focus shift shooting, there's another option that's now enabled with the Nikon Z8 firmware 3.0. So we go into focus shift shooting and we go to the options on the very bottom. Now there's this option called pixel shift shooting. Pixel shift shooting isn't new on its own. It's actually a feature on its own within the Nikon Z8 camera. And what it actually does is, after it takes a single picture, it can take up to 4, 8, 16, or 32 images, and then you combine them in NX Studio to make a higher resolution image with superior color reproduction and less noise. So for each picture that the camera takes, it will take up to 32 pictures depending on what your settings are. This is the folder where I have all of the pixel shift files. Now you can see that I have files called NEFX. These are not made by the camera themselves. These are actually made by NX Studio after combining the individual files. The camera actually makes these NEF files, and you can see here that I have them in 16 images because I told Pixel Shift to create 16 images. I actually have 15 groups of these 16 images, and the 15 comes from the fact that I had set that in the focus stacking settings. So all in all, I have 15 times 16 images here, which is quite a lot of photos. Now my next task is to bring each of these group of 16 images inside NX Studio and combine them using the pixel shift merge function. So now I'm in NX Studio and I led the application to the folder where I have all of my pixel shift images. You can see here on the left hand side I have all of my images here, even the merged ones that I created with NX Studio beforehand, and that's okay because NX Studio will organize them accordingly. So once I have these files loaded in NX Studio, I'll go to the top where it says pixel shift merge. After I press this, it will calculate all of the files and figure out which are pixel shifts and which are in different series. Now you'll actually see here in the window that I have 15 different series, and that's because of the focus shift setting. Each one of these 16 images is for one focal plane that I've taken. So just select all, and I want to in the merge mode select generate one image, and you can set the destination folder and the name and press start, and it will start merging the individual 16 shots into one file for each of the 15 series that I have. So let's go back into the pixel shift folder, and now we have all of these NEFX files that were created from NX Studio. So I have 15 of these files in total, and let's just open up one of these files inside Photoshop so you can see what it is. Each file is about 958 megabytes, and you can see here that the leaf is not in focus still, because you have to remember that each of these files is still referring to each focal plane that the camera is taking pictures at. So in this particular case is the first pixel shift file. The place that is in focus is the closest part of the subject to the lens, and you can see that it is in focus right here, and everything else is still not in focus. But the file that we have here is 16,000 by 11,000 pixels in dimension, so that equates to approximately 180 megapixels around there. So that is a gigantic file size compared to if we were just doing a regular focus stack image. We have all of these NEFX files. We have 15 of them in all. Our next task is to essentially focus stack each one of these files. So you can bring it into your program of your choice. I used Adobe Photoshop to use its focus stacking function. Now you have to remember each of these file sizes is over 900 megabytes. So if you have a powerful enough computer, you can do this in one go. Otherwise, you can do what I did was I split them up into 7 different sections and I did them separately. And then I actually merged those files into one single file. So you can see here I did files numbers 1 to 6 all in one go, 7 to 11 in another, and then 12 to 15 in another. And then my next step was to take these individual files and combine them all using the focus stack feature of Photoshop into one separate file for all of these 1 to 15. So now we have this final file, and I flattened it so that the file size will be a little bit lower, but you can now see that the entire leaf is clearly in focus right from the bottom of the leaf right to the top of the leaf, and you can see we have a really nice edge lighting that separates the leaf from the background thanks to the backlighting from the Nanlite Pavo tube. And then the front here is really nicely lit up as well, with some of the shadow areas on the bottom half of the leaf and the lit up portion on the top half thanks to the Maven ring light. You can even see these small little hairs or specks that you can barely see with a visible eye when you look at it. So you can see here there's like really, I guess these are dust particles and hairs, fine hair particles that you'll be able to see. Now if we look at the file dimensions, it's 16,904 pixels wide by 11,248 pixels high. That's approximately 187 megapixels. So this is a really large file, but I hope you can appreciate the fine details, the color fidelity, and the lack of noise that you get from when you combine the features of the pixel shift shooting and focus shift shooting. So I hope you're able to appreciate the big, beautiful, bold colors and details that you get from combining both features of the pixel shift shooting and the focus shift shooting. Do you have any questions on this procedure? Have you tried this yourself on the Nikon Z8? Let me know in the comments below what you think of this. Thanks for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.